I brand commitment, committing to your brand. What the heck does that mean? I get asked a lot, like, how the heck do I commit to a brand? And this goes well beyond, although I think most people are considering the aesthetic. Like it goes well beyond the pretty fonts, colors, aesthetic, palette, all that stuff. There's a brand commitment that needs to take place. And let me tell you, this is not hard when you own your value, when you own everything that you're up to and that it's good and that it's good and that it's good. I get asked like, yeah, how do I commit to a brand? What if I get bored? I like several different things. Like, how do I pull this all together? So let me address this. It doesn't have to be hard, number one. But let me first tell you why it's important to commit to a brand. Brand consistency is everything. Remember, just because something is second nature to you, where you could like wake up at 3 in the morning and talk about it in your sleep with no problem, like do a full on presentation because it's so close and ingrained into your system. Um, it isn't to everybody else. Like I know branding, I know marketing. Like I could wake up at, like I said, at 3 in the morning, be tapped on the shoulder and say, you have to go give a presentation on this. And I could do it. I love it. I love it. And there's something in your life, in your business that you love, and that is the same exact potion for you. So, but again, it isn't for everybody else. So, you showing up and committing to your brand essence, your brand message every single time creates a consistency that your audience can begin to rely upon. Again, this builds the know, like, and trust factor. They're like, oh, I know I can always get the brand goods from Jessica. I know I can always get the health expertise from so and so. I can, uh, whatever your brand or your business is. So if you're in a place where it doesn't matter even if you're just starting out or if you've been doing this for a while and you're like, I need a shift, that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Just remember that showing up consistently to your audience is what's going to allow them to remember you. Okay. So this is why we need to commit. The commitment comes from knowing that you are showing up as your authentic self and understanding that, yes, you do need to show up consistently, but you are not fully locked in. This isn't now for forever. Your brand will evolve, although your values tend to stay the same. So, this is what I'm going to talk about first. I want you to know what your brand values are. What do you stand for? Why are you doing this in the first place? What is meaningful to you? What do you want to contribute and give to the world? And if that feels like an overwhelming question to the world, like it was for me for a very long time, it's like, I am of the mindset, like I'm not here to change the world. I'm just here to give of myself and my services. And then, if that makes a ripple effect, great. But my brand values, I'll share with you what mine are. They are freedom, they are beauty, they are growth, they are positivity, and it is intuition. And actually, no matter how much my brand evolves from this place, those brand values will stay intact. And this helps me understand, like, okay, if I shift into this direction, is that still embodying my brand values? So you need to sit down for a second. Like everybody wants to skip over this branding stuff. And I like it blows my mind because it's so foundational to your business and to your business growth. It is your jumping off point every single time you post, every single time you launch a new program, every single time like you want to make maybe a partnership with someone else. Like you need to have this brand value system intact and in place. So, freedom, beauty, growth, positivity, intuition, those are mine. You need to sit down for 5 seconds, do it right now as you're listening to this, and think about, okay, what do I stand for? What are the non negotiables of what I want to be representing to the world? Like, let's figure this out first. And then from that place, you can decide what your imagery is going to be, decide what your logo is going to be, decide what your brand color palette's going to be, decide what your messaging is going to be, decide what your stories are going to be. So this brand value thing is kind of important. It's a bit important, my friend. Bit important. So just take a second right now, even as you're like driving, listening to this, cleaning your house, whatever you're doing, and just think, okay, well, what do I stand for? What does my brand and my business stand for? What are like my non-negotiables of what I want to be representing to the world? And you can borrow some of mine. You can come up with your own. Sometimes it's I need to be bold. I need to be sassy. I need to be disruptor. I need to be compassionate, conscious. I stand for the oneness of the world. Like whatever the case may be for you. It's and this is again, I talked about secret sauce in one of my episodes. This is so important to your secret sauce because it's going to be your own personal configuration. I've done this exercise with many different people at many different times. And although maybe some brand value overlaps, everyone is unique and everyone is different, and which makes your brand unique and different and differentiated from everyone else around you, which attracts your audience to you. So come to the table with the understanding that as you evolve, your brand will evolve too. Nothing wrong with this. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect that this is what's happening. Because you know what? The world's not going to be the same as it is today, as it will be, a year from now, even 6 months from now. This is why I'm also a very big, firm believer in making 90-day increment visions and goals for your business, because everything changes so quickly. This like 5-year plan, yes, kind of good in like big aspirational type situations, but everything changes so quickly that if you're not able to pivot but have these brand values at your core foundation, it's going to be really, really hard. So, brand values, super, super, super important. And then showing up consistently from this place of this brand value is what's going to allow your audience to remember you, recognize you, know you, like you, trust you. And they will your audience will resonate with you based on your brand values because they will share the same own personal values as you. So, and then honestly, like, allow your brand to come forward. Yes, I want you to figure out some things before you get started, but progress over perfection, 100%. Every step of the way, progress over perfection. Your audience will mirror back to you what's important to you. You start with this brand value foundation and you get out there and you start doing things, you're going to get mirrored back to like what's working, what's landing, what people remember, et cetera, et cetera. And like all in my own brand evolution, like I like to have put on a party. I'm not all about it being very hard. I want it to be easy. I want it to be simple. I want it to be in flow for you. That's probably the intuition part and the growth part and the positivity part, right? Of my own brand values. So keep showing up because it does take, especially in the world today where we are inundated with information, constantly overflowing with information. It takes at least 7 to 10 impressions of you. And if you're shifting gears and changing your mind every 5 seconds, people are not going to remember you. Just because you said it 10,000 times, the audience listening, they've only heard it like once or twice. And they need up to 7 to 10 impressions of you, of your message, of your brand voice in order for it to be like, oh yeah, I remember that girl. I remember that woman. I remember that brand. This is the problem that they solve. So it takes you showing up consistently, committed to your brand in order to make those impressions. And often it'll be like, oh yeah, it's that green color. She always says that one phrase over and over again. That's how I remember her. And I don't remember her name, but like let me research and like find her again. This is what happens. This is how people find you. Think of yourself often. You're like, it's actually not that hard. Think of your own behavior. You will remember certain something about someone that reminds you that this is the brand, this is the service, this is the thing that they provide, this is the transformation and the solution that they come to for you. But you might not remember their name. You might remember a color or a funny anecdote or something like that, but you're not going to remember their name. And that's okay. We could drop our ego there. Like, who cares if you remember my name? If you get the transformation and you get the nugget of help that you need in the moment, great. And then you'll remember me by that, or they'll remember you by whatever your thing is. So show up, figure out what these brand values are for yourself, and keep repeating it over and over and over again. And your job is to not get bored. That is your job. Think of In-N-Out cheeseburger, okay? They do cheeseburgers, french fries, and drinks over and over and over and over again. And you know, when you show up to that, sorry, all the people who don't know what, and I just realized like that's a West Coast thing. McDonald's, I know, is similar. I just don't like McDonald's. So like think of the thing, Starbucks coffee. Like, you know, you show up, you're going to get the same drink over and over and over again. You know that little green logo with the mermaid looking thing. Like, I don't even know what it is, but I know I can picture it in my mind. You know, the Apple logo, you know what they stand for, right? So this is what you want to start to do. Commit and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Don't get bored with your own brand message. And the way you make it exciting and new and innovative each time is transferring your enthusiasm to your audience, sharing a new story. Oh, I was washing my dishes the other day and boom, this reminded me of insert your teaching here. Insert your knowledgeable fact here. Insert, your solution to the problem here. This is how, and then show up consistently, consistently, consistently. Don't get bored with your own brand message or your own. And like, if it evolves, if there's like a bit of a change, a small change, but you'll see the through line. The through line will continue to be these brand values. So this is why it's so, 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 so important, because the branding is the essence. Why is this branding stuff so important? It's the essence of what you are putting forward into the world each and every time, so your audience knows, yep, that's the right fit for me. How many times have you come across any kind of service or product and you're like, you know what, their brand isn't quite vibing with me? But then you'll see the almost exact same product or service, but the way it's being communicated, how it's being represented, the feeling you get when you're around it or him or her or whatever the case may be, is what lands for you, is what makes you make that next step, which makes you follow that person and or buy the product and or engage further into their brand or business. And so the same thing is happening right back to you. Your audience is looking at you like, oh my God, yeah, each time and every time I feel this way after I listen to this person, after I read one of their posts, after I read one of their emails, whatever the case may be, and they're like uplifted or they have their next step or there's a mini micro transformation that occurs because you're adding value, your brand adds value, right? So this is how I want you to commit to your brand, because you realize the importance of it. You realize the importance of committing to your brand values, your brand message, everything that you're showing up as, so that your audience can find you, so that they can remember you, so that they can know, oh, yep, she's a good fit. I know her. I like her. I trust her because she keeps showing up consistently. And that's why this whole branding thing is important. Whether that's communicated through your colors, through your imagery, through your message, through your voice, through your brand persona, all of those things matter. All of those aggregate together and create an audience that aligns with you. You don't need everybody to love you. You do not. I don't want everyone to love you. I want the right people to be in your stratosphere. I want the right audience to be gravitating towards you. And you can't do that until you authentically show up as you have these brand values intact and in place. So take a minute and think about what those are. It doesn't have to be this long, drawn out process. Just decide on 5. Live them, breathe them, drink them, eat them, sleep them for at least a little while. If you need to change one out in like a year's time or a couple months' time, fine. I'm not holding you hostage here. But you will find that when you own this and you like dig into it and you really commit to it, you will reap the rewards. You will most definitely reap the rewards of it. You most definitely will. So, your assignment today is to think about it for a second. What are those brand values that you want to stand behind? What is that brand essence that you're going to allow to come forward from you? Commit to it for a time at least. Don't show up once and then ghost your audience, please. It doesn't work and it's going to make you tired. It's going to make it harder on you. So just consistently show up. I'm not saying there aren't further tactics and strategies, and we'll continue to get into those. But if you're like really needing that momentum right now, like really catapult yourself forward by committing to a brand and staying consistent. Keep showing up, keep adding value, keep sharing your authentic self. You hear me? You gonna do it? You better. So excited for you.